Greetings, welcome to my channel, my Lioness journey, and my name is Nechelle. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking to you all about what I titled this, You Have to Save Yourself, because the narcissist, and when I say narcissist, I'm talking about in a romantic relationship, the narcissist basically wants to end you. Excuse me. I'm just giving you all a heads up, two things. This could be triggering depending on what you're going through or what you have been through. And this is going to be a tough video for me. Now, if you haven't watched, and only at the time of recording this, I really only have 3 videos. If by any chance you haven't seen the other 2 videos, really quick, when you include the separation time, excuse me, allergies. When you include the separation time, I was in a narcissistic marriage for 14 and a half years. And the girls and I, my younger 2 children, we left and moved back home from another part of Florida in June of last year. And so right now I'm just waiting on my final hearing to say I am divorced. That's like the last thing that I'm waiting on, and that's coming up soon. In that marriage was tough. I experienced narcissistic abuse. My husband is an alcoholic, or ex-husband is alcoholic, along with some other issues he had, and a lot of his flare-ups definitely happened whenever he was intoxicated. And so I experienced verbal abuse, physical abuse. The physical abuse wasn't as frequent as the verbal abuse, but it's still all hard. Verbal, psychological, financial abuse, because there was a point in time in the marriage where I was told that I could stop working. I felt like I was tricked. And only to have those things brought back to me, how I'm not working, or one moment you need to work, you need to go back to work, although I was told that I could stop working so that I could start a business that I never was really given a chance to nurture or get off the ground. And then, but you can get a part-time. I can handle everything else. I want you to do part-time. No, don't get a job. I have everything, like this back and forth emotional roller coaster, but then would also use that as a weapon whenever I would not behave, and to threaten me with my livelihood, get out of my house, or these type of things. So, and then with the physical abuse, that could be, I have no clue that he's drunk on liquor. I said something he doesn't like, or we're having a misunderstanding about something, and before you know it, I'm being called all type of B words. I'm going to kill you. I'm being choked, punched in my head, slapped. But it would go something like that. And so throughout the marriage, things progressed, especially with the verbal abuse. And was interesting about being in a marriage like that. And let me add this, because I mentioned it in another video. I grew up abused by my mother. My mother, then I find this out later on in life, was a narcissist. My mother had her own issues with her own childhood, and my mother physically abused me. And so now fast forward, I'm in this marriage. And so she definitely wasn't someone that I could depend on or rely on or even share any of this stuff with. Now, in the marriage, let's say he would do things, because narcissistic relationships, and I apologize if you all hear noise. There's something going on out here with, I don't know, cutting grass or something. So if you hear that, I do apologize, but had no way to time this. But he, let's say he would do something. Let's say he would curse me out, or say how, kick my butt, or I'm stupid, I'm dumb, whatever that he would say or be complaining about. And like it wouldn't even be a good week. It's like karma get him immediately, like give it like a good 3 days, and he'll be like, I'm having a tough time at work. I need you to pray for me. I know we're not speaking right now. I'm so sorry for the things I said. I shouldn't have said these things, and you're a good woman. I don't want to lose my marriage. Would you please pray for me? And I'm really having a tough time, and they're not appreciating me at work, and this and that. And it'd be like now, let's forget about all of the things you said, all of the disgusting, painful, mean, hateful things you said, and now we got to concentrate on you. I remember one argument where he told me to, get out of my house, and I'm the breadwinner, and I'm the one making the money, and he says all these things, and with his job, with the type of position he has, because he has like an upper level manager position, he would have to travel for business, and he made some type of purchase that they did not agree on the card. And let's say like 2 days later, after he says all of this to me, then he calls me, I need you to pray for me. I may have to look for a job too, because they received an audit and they're questioning his purchase. It was beer. They're questioning his purchase, and so he feel like he may get in trouble. He ended up not getting in trouble. He's still with the company. But I'm just saying, the point that I'm making is that he would do these things, and then it's like, oh, let's shift off of you. I had to temporarily stop the recording because of the people cutting grass or whatever. But I believe I was saying, like, then he wants to temporarily, well, not temporarily, but shift that attention off of you. Like, I know I hurt you, but now I'm hurt, and now I need to be a victim, or I need for you to feel sorry for me, even though I said a bunch of mean and hateful and vile things to you. Another thing would be, he would apologize and say, oh, don't worry, you don't have to cook tonight. I'll buy takeout, or I'll attempt to cook something or whatever. And depending on what was said, you're still hurting, because some things are not as easy to move forward with or move past as others, especially when the behavior repeats itself. It's something that's continuous, and it's like you do and say the same things over, only to apologize, only to do it again. And it's like, at this point, there's no trust. And of course I'm hurting, because you said something very painful, something that's so painful would be the equivalent of, you dropped a very heavy stone on my foot and I'm limping now, and you're telling me to walk normal and I can't. My foot the bones are broken, or it's sprained really badly, or whatever. If it even works ever again, depending on what the situation is. And he would get angry about that, like, I apologize to you, and you like to hold grudges, and you think you're perfect. You're not perfect. And you get to a point where you're like, year after year, you're being told the same thing. The behavior is going to change. The alcohol is going to change. The way you're being spoken to is going to change. If they're getting telephone numbers, and he would be out on these dating websites, all of these things are going to change, and they never change. What happens is, oh, they change. They get worse. They change for the worse. And so I'm making this video to say, and I wanted to give that information first, so that you could understand that I am speaking from a person that have experienced this, and I am healing and growing through this right now. You have to save yourself. When you are in a marriage like this, or a romantic relationship, I'm speaking more to romantic relationships. I don't care if you're a man or a woman, because women, you have narcissistic women too. I know this because I was raised by a narcissistic mother, and I've seen her interact in her romantic relationships. So it doesn't even matter the gender. So if you're a man or a woman going through this. Now, I'm like sort of kind of speaking to women, although I'm speaking to men too, because I'm speaking from a woman's perspective. Now, you have to leave, or you have to find a way to save yourself. And this is why I'm saying that. When you are in a relationship like that, 9 times out of 10, you have been covering for that person. No one knows you're suffering. My husband was the type of person that at home, you got to see that he was an alcoholic. He didn't care what he says around the children. We have younger children. My older two children are adults now. When we married, we came in with children from previous relationships. And then we had two children together. He's very uncouth. He doesn't care what he says. It could just be very inappropriate for a child to hear. And it's just who he is, especially if he's drinking and have some liquor in him. He doesn't care. So he was one way at home, and then he would go to work, and people had no clue the type of man he was. He's one that loves admiration. Like if he received emails or he wanted everyone to like him at work, all his employees to like him. So he do things just to get them to like him. And if he felt like one person didn't like him, that could destroy his whole entire day. And trust me, whatever he dealt with at work, then I got it at home. So if someone ticked him off or whatever, things that he could not say to them, it could be one little thing with me, and I'll get it for the one little thing that I did that just ticked him off, as well as everything. And I'll be like, there's no way in the world that this one disagreement, because in any healthy relationship, couples are going to disagree, and they find a way to move past that without attacking each other and get into the root of the issue and moving past it. No, I would get it for everything that he could not say to that boss or co-worker or whomever works for him. And they would think he's just this wonderful guy. And he would say stuff like, yeah, it's a shame that the people at work can see that I'm a great guy, or they can see all of this, but you can't see it. And I'm like, yeah, because you're wearing a mask. If you're calling those women at your job dumb and stupid B words when they piss you off, and they'll see who you really are. You're wearing a mask at work. And so no one would probably believe, unless they would see a recording or something, that this man is saying the type of things. Like, he would come home and share these stories. Oh, would you believe, the one lady I was telling you about, her husband is cheating on her and she's a good woman. And I'll be sitting there like, yeah, you're on dating websites and you're looking at porn and for hours, and like I'm talking to two different people. It would just be amazing. Now, 9 times out of 10, if you're like me, no one knows what you're dealing with. They have no clue that you are suffering, that you are in pain, and depending on where you are, if you are like how I was, if you haven't gotten there yet, you are approaching a point that you don't want to be here. And no one knows if they're even interested in wanting to help you, to come and help you, because you're doing a good job of hiding and covering for this person. Meanwhile, while you're covering for this person, they're getting worse, and they can care less. If anything, they see that you are declining in your health, especially your mental health, and they're making fun of you. And then, because I know with myself, with dealing with the mental health issues, that I've dealt with mental health issues from childhood, and then especially with things that happen in between and in that marriage. And he would go to work and tell these people, yeah, my wife is dealing with mental health, for sympathy for himself, but he's not telling them the things he's doing or saying. He's not doing that. So it's like, oh, I'm so sorry that your wife is dealing with that, as if he has no contribution to that, to any of my reactions or my shutdowns. So, number one, no one knows. Number two, if you're waiting on that person to change, let me ask you something. If you've been with that person for multiple years at this point, we'll say 2. By now, they've said things, whether they put their hands on you or cheated on you, called you all type of despicable, disgusting things. And they've said sorry, I don't know how many times, only to do it again. Has anything changed? They know you very well at this point. So if you're waiting for them to change every year, year after year, I had my justifications, and I really, really wanted to believe that this time was going to be different. This time he cried. This time he really, really looked like he got it, like that I'm going to leave, that I'm telling him that I can't hold on any longer. That we can't use the girls and say, oh, the girls need both parents or whatever. Not if both parents are having toxic type of arguments and they have a toxic marriage, and we're teaching these girls that this is what they should expect. No. So if you're waiting for them to change, they're not going to change. They get worse. And it's almost like they are addicted to treating you like crap. They're addicted to talking to you any kind of way. They're not going to change. They already know that when you do this, when they do offense this is how you typically react. And within this time frame, they know to do, I'm going to do this, I'm going to act like this, I'm going to buy that. Whatever it is that gets you or speaks to your love language, I'm going to do that long enough because I know I have to do this for about 2 weeks. And then the cycle continues over and over again. I know that I got to the point that I could detect that cycle, and it felt weird. It would be like, I almost can tell you what we were going to say to each other verbatim. Like we were stuck in some kind of loop or something. It was the strangest, weirdest thing. So you're waiting for this person to save the relationship, save you. No, they're not. Here's another thing. You may speak to some people. It depends on who you speak to. And let's say you have certain friends and they have their own stuff going on. And you say, man, or hey girl, I'm going through this and that. He said this and that to me. And they're like, what? Oh, that's messed up. I'm so sorry to hear that you're going through that. Girl, well, let me tell you about mine. I'm not saying that they're responsible for helping to save you, but if you're looking for someone to save you, sometimes when it comes to friends, especially if you have already shared things, they're so used to you saying that you're tired and you want out only to stay, that they don't really take what you're saying serious, or they're going through the same thing. They're dealing with stuff they have no business dealing with, and they stay too. You have to get to a point where you say to yourself, enough is enough. There has to be a breaking point for you. I remember watching a video on YouTube. And at this time, I'm like, because right now, and even at that time, I'm more closer to being 50 than I am to being 30. I'm in my 40s. And I remember thinking, eventually, all these grandbabies are going to come. And do I want to be a 50-year-old woman being called the B word? Do I want to be a 50-year-old woman and every time my husband gets mad enough with me, he's calling me the B word? I don't know why. I don't know why that age was significant or anything like that. The other thing is, do I want grandkids to come over? They're visiting Nani and Papa. They hear Nani and Papa argue, and they hear Papa call Nani the B word, and I'm like, oh, I'm crying, and oh, why would you call me that and this and that? Because if they're doing it around their own children, where their children can hear, why would the grandkids be any different? And I was thinking, do I want my grandchildren to be afraid to come over their own grandparents' house? I can't see my own grandkids, because if my children say, I'm not exposing my children to that. Like, I'm sorry that you're going through that, Mom, but I'm not going to allow my children to go over there. And that's not the type of life I'm living. Could I blame them? And so I was like, no. When I look at the years of hearing, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it again, only for it to get worse. When I have a person telling me when he's angry, I don't deserve my own life. B, you don't deserve your own life. How dare you tell me something like that? You want to hear something else disgusting he said to me throughout the years? And this is hard, but I'm going to share this with you. My mother used to physically abuse me to the point to where I would have preferred a belt sometimes. A belt would have been nice sometimes. And that man told me, your mother should have killed you when she was abusing you. But something, there is nothing I could have said to that man in an argument. And I wouldn't even have said anything to even cause this man to say something like that, to deserve for someone to say something like that. I was a child when my mother was abusing me, a tiny little child. My mother was hitting on me like 5, 6 and whatever with her feet and fist. Okay? Now, when I got to the point where I know that I had to save myself, that process started in 2017. Now, I left physically in 2020, but the process of leaving here and getting strong enough to leave here started in 2017. And the situation was something like this. We were living in Maryland because his job moved us from Florida to Maryland. He got a promotion after he finished this training class. And at the time, his son from a previous relationship was living with us. I'm not working. We may have been there at the time, maybe a year, because I don't think we made it a full 2 years before we moved back to a different part of Florida. But it had at least been a year, if nothing else. I know nothing about this area. I don't have a job. It's cold. I hadn't experienced cold since I was a child, or like a young teen when we lived up north. But we moved to Florida when I was in my teenage years, like young teenage years. And so I didn't know how to do things like shovel snow or whatever, because I didn't have to do that as a child. So we're living in Maryland, and the son is living with us. And I have overheard him talking to the son about all of his, when he was in the military, the type of women. I had this kind of woman, like he's naming the different nationalities or races, whatever, like women is something. You go to a store and you're like, oh, I want grape flavor, I want strawberry, whatever. Like, he's talking about women like that. I had a African and a German and a whatever, like we're just some items, like a flavor or something. And the one with the big this and that, and she had the big old breasts and the big old butt, and I'm like upstairs, I hear everything you're saying, and when I say something to him, he goes off about it. So, and I remember leaving, like, damn, I went to go leave and talk to a good friend of mine to vent to her about it and come back. And then some other things happened. I feel like that kind of carried over from that. Now, again, we're in Maryland. We were in the bedroom. And now, during this time, I was extremely depressed. I was depressed because I'm like, I trusted him. I moved from Florida, where my family is, to Maryland, a place I know no one, or don't even know that I know anyone, is living in Maryland. I have no job. It's cold. I'm depressed. I have no friends, nothing. I felt totally isolated. And he had told me, when we move to Maryland, it's going to be a fresh start for us. And you're going to see it's going to be a difference, and we'll get a house there, once we get used to it. So I'm really just wanting to believe, okay, this time, maybe it was just Florida, not like Florida is causing this man to be this way. Maybe it was Florida. Okay, we're going to move to Maryland. It's going to be a fresh start or whatever. No fresh start. And I was so depressed, and I would just stay in the room mostly. I was just so sad and depressed. And we're in the room, and I don't even remember what we were arguing about. And he said, B-word, pack up your stuff and take your ass back to Florida. Get out of my house, because that was one of his favorite things to say after he had me to stop working. And I remember feeling low, like I don't have 2 pennies to rub together. And I said, how? I don't have anything. How am I going to go back to Florida? And so he had brought up about me being depressed, and I said, you know, you don't kick a person when they're down. So I'm depressed. You don't kick a person when they're down, and I don't have a way to go to Florida. I don't have money. I don't have a way to go to Florida. And he said, well, you think you would know how to act then, since you know that you don't have money. Like, basically, since I know that I need him. And, okay, so I remember, like, I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. This man is trying to kill me. This man, either he's going to take me out or I'm going to find a way. I'm sorry if this triggering. I'm telling you all what I felt. Have something here that I wrote myself. That I wrote myself the same night. I wrote myself a letter. It was like a writing a letter to myself. I'm like speaking to myself, and then I'm responding to myself. So maybe like my higher self talking to myself. I'm going to read this letter to you that I wrote to myself that same night. Because when I did that, that made me say, no one's coming to save us. It says here, I am not a burden. I am not a loser. I am a winner. I am loved. I am a queen. Rock bottom is not the end. Depression is not my death sentence. I am not a dumping post. I have to love myself and not depend on anyone else's love. I deserve to be respected even when I am at my lowest. I deserve an unconditional love and support system. I am tired of crying. I am tired of hurting. Being judged because of what I am not financially able to provide in a negative manner is non-acceptable. You know who you are. It was told to you before you enter your mother's womb. You don't know what led you to this place. Okay, no, I say here, you know what led you to this place, and you don't know what led you to this place. You are here, it hurts, you get kicked and constantly reminded of all of your shortcomings. But you have a choice. Now choose. What is it? And then I'm responding to myself. I choose life. And then myself responds to me. Okay, queen, now fight for your life. Don't stay torn. You don't have to be broken. You don't have to accept the sharpness, the vile. Yet, it is going to be hard. But I am with you, and I always have been here with you. I love you. And that was in 2017. That was around like June or July of 2017. I wrote that night because I felt low. I felt like crap, like, how am I married and I don't feel like I have a home? I'm constantly being told, get out of a house when we're married. I was like, I remember I was doing all this thrifting in the thrift store, and I would buy a bunch of stuff just to feel like I belonged in that house. It was in that moment that I realized, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do this, and I have to do this. And so do you. If you are in a situation similar, you have to do this. There's the saying, a closed mouth doesn't get fed. If you don't tell someone you're hungry, no one knows to feed you. And I'm going to be honest with you, and it's just from my experience. When you decide to fight, number one, you're going to still have feelings for the person, especially if you've been with them a while. You're going to still have feelings for them. If they're talking to someone on the phone or getting phone numbers or whatever, you may feel jealous or insecure about that. You may still feel some type of love. You may still be intimately attracted to them still while you're going through. I mean, it's like a separation and you get less and less of it, but you still will. And it's okay that in that moment you feel like you still love that person or you still desire that person, because as I was separating, I'm like, okay, you got this little window of time, but it's separating. But I realized that I have to love myself. No one's coming to save me. And I started reaching out. I reached out to like the domestic violence number, and I remember sending emails to different spiritual type of people asking for prayers. Or I'm like, I'm not looking for a handout, I'm looking for a way to help myself. I started looking for things that I can do, because I do have college degrees, but I was like, my college degrees are like so general, maybe I should do something specialized. We ended up moving from Maryland back to Florida, but a different part. And then that whole time I started listening to self-love things, and I learned about affirmations, started saying affirmations to myself. You have to do those things. You have to go inner, because even when I reached out to spiritual people, I received the prayer, but no one said, here, with this prayer, here's some suggestions on what you can do. Do this, do that. Like, no, it was like, hey, I'm going to send you this prayer that you asked for. Good luck. You receive something like that, don't give up. Just keep pushing, you know, because you got to think about what's sad to me is that there are people that really need help and assistance. But because people, like say agencies or friends or whomever, they don't really understand that whole mental process as far as like the attempts of trying to break away from something, and how much you have to fight, and how much that is internal as far as your experience of what you've been through to get you to that point in the first place, that you have to fight through and unlearn to get you to the point where you walk away for good. I never had that opportunity like to leave, come back, leave and come back. So I knew when I left, I was never coming back. And so you have to fight. You have to start with you. You have to start with yourself, with the love. Giving yourself the love that, if you're like me, childhood, you didn't get it from the parents. You didn't get it from an aunt or an uncle or a grandparent or whatever. You're going to have to give that to yourself. And you're going to have to listen to things and surround yourself with things that remind you of who you are. Because in your house, you're hearing the opposite. And that person wants to tear you down. All you are to that person is something that they can dump on or in, or whatever. That's all you are. Because if they had any intentions on changing, they would have changed. They don't know how to change. These people are evil. And that's just the way that I feel about it. And as soon as they use you, they'll call you, she was crazy or he was crazy, whatever. And they'll go on to the next person and hurt them and just try to destroy their life. So that person is not going to change, and no one knows to come and help you. And even if no one helps you, if you at least start helping yourself. And if you don't have children with this person, that's a blessing that you don't. I have 2 children with this person, and he uses the children to still try and hurt me. And I'm so proud of my reactions to it. I'm like, there's some things that I don't respond to unless I absolutely have to respond to it. Like, no, you have went to the gutter with this one. No, I have got to address you with this particular one. So it's more challenging for me to go no contact, because I cannot 100% go no contact. Where if you're a person that you don't have any children, you don't have a business, any property or assets or something like that that connects you to, that you would have to legally split, then you are in a better position. But no one's coming to save you. If you're looking for someone to knock on your door and be like, I just magically or just know that you're going through this and I come here to help you, no. But if you start the process of loving yourself and saying to yourself, do I really deserve this? Was I born to be this person's doormat? I put aside dreams and there were so many things that I wanted to do, especially on an entrepreneur end, that I stopped doing. And I wouldn't know how to make things with beads, like making jewelry. It just came to me. That'll be another video. It came to me. And I remember times where I tried to pick it up because I want to sell it, because I attempted to sell my jewelry on Etsy or whatever. And he would get mad if I'm in there trying to make something. And he would like devalue it and be like, you're in there playing with your little beads. And like, instead of being out there with him watching television or something, I don't want to be out there with you watching television, because at any moment I could be called something or compared to someone on a movie or something like that. I'd rather be in here and playing with my beads. Do I say you're playing with your briefcase or you're playing with documents? No, but that's how they do. So I look up at things that I've given up just so this person could elevate and grow, and they just drain from you. They drain and they suck you dry. And if you're waiting for them to stop, they're not. As long as you're willing to be their punching bag, their verbal punching bag, someone that they could vent to about work and then turn around and take out work on you, they're going to do that. And when you reach out to, if you reach out to a family member or a friend and that person is not helping you and you need help, then knock on another door. Knock on another door. But I'm telling you that you have the strength in you to do it. It'll be a process. 2017 to 2020, that's how long it took me once I really got to the point where I said, I can't do this anymore, to where I finally was able to physically leave. And it was a process. And that within that process, I had to stop being Inspector Gadget. I had to know that when I went looking for it to see if he'd been talking to women or been looking at big gigantic butts that I don't have, that, hey, if you got a big gigantic butt, do you? I'm not mad at you. I'm just saying that this is what he's looking at for hours, and be like, that doesn't take away from who I am or my beauty. It doesn't take away, it doesn't define me or anything like that. This is this man's, I have nothing to do with what it is that he's doing, and I can't change or stop it. If you're waiting for it to stop, it's not going to stop. I don't care how many times they say they're not going to do it. And I'm telling you, if you look for it, it is going to be there. It is going to be there. So you might as well not look for it. And that's the process I had to go through from 2017 through to 2020. To the point of, it's going to be there. He's going to apologize only to do it again. He's going to justify it. I thought we were broke up. I was angry with you. I wanted to hurt you or make you mad. This is what I do. Oh, you know my childhood. Please feel sorry for me. My childhood is why I do all these things on the internet. Or, you're the reason why I do all this on the internet. Or, the military is the reason why I do. Everyone but him. You know you're going to get this. Man or woman, from your narcissist. Save yourself. Knock on doors. But start with first. Start with yourself first. Start with the self-love and rebuilding yourself. Listen to affirmations or whatever you have to listen to. Whatever your spiritual practices are, get closer there. Do that. But do what you have to do to get that internal strength. Then from there, you'll start getting the ideas like, reach out to this agency, or people may start coming to you because now you have already built it within. So as within, so without. Do it that way. I felt like it was extremely important for me to share this. I'm so proud of myself that I did not cry. I'm so proud of myself, and you all may hear me say this if you decide to follow me on this journey, that I am proud of myself, because it was something that I could not say. There was a time that I was extremely angry with myself. Extremely. So it feels good that I am able to share this so that I can reach out to you to tell you that I don't care what that narcissist said to you. You are beautiful. You are strong. You are deserving. You are deserving of the greatest life that you could imagine. Will it take some work? Yeah. And a lot of the work is the believing and the knowing and the having the faith. But you don't deserve that. Now, I don't know what you believe spiritually, and it's none of my business. But I can tell you that whatever you believe spiritually, that wasn't the purpose of you being here. Is so that you can be punched or kicked or talked to like crap. Get out. Like the movie, get out. Now, get out may not be overnight, but get out. And know that even though you may, even if you don't feel like myself, like you don't have the people nearby, there are people that's nearby. And even if you can't see the people, but even in another realm, let's say in a spiritual realm, you have love, you have support. And guess what? I'm here to tell you that you're worthy. You are worthy. You are worthy to live the life that you want to live. You are worthy of your beautiful, precious life. So it's time to fight for it, because no one is coming to save you, because no one knows that you need the help. So I hope this video, with me being transparent, sharing experiences that I'm still healing from and growing through, has been helpful and beneficial somehow. And if any kind of way I could be of support for you, just know that with this channel, we can grow through it together. We can grow through it together. Because on this channel, you know, yes, although I will be speaking about the different forms of abuse, to let you know that this is a person that I am not clinical. I don't know all the words, you know, this word versus that word. I don't know all that, but I know the experience. I know the experience from the person that endured it. But know that I am here for you, even though I don't know you, but on a soul level, I love you. Sounds weird? I don't care. I'm weird. Been told that all my life, and I embrace it. I hope this video helped. If you're not going through this personally, you know someone that can benefit from this video, please share this video with them. So again, thank you. This is Nechelle, and I hope you all have an amazing rest of your week, and I look forward to chatting with you all in a new video. Bye bye for now.